Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Nicole. How are you today?
Good morning. I am good. I am good. Start of another new week.
Yes.
And
Happy Monday.
happy Monday to you.
Happy Monday. And the comments are open and we are here. I'm Leslie Flowers. This is Nicole and I Galindo. And as you're coming into the room for Mind Over Matter Mondays, I would love for you to tell us where you're calling from and ask any questions or make any comments as we go through the show. And here's a little music for you as we begin the session. You fill up my senses like a night in the forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. You fill up my senses, come fill me again. Come, let me love you. Let me give my life to you. Let me drown in your laughter. Let me die in your arms. Let me lay down beside you. Let me always be with you. Come, let me love you. Come, love me again. This is a song for me and mothers to all their children as they grow and move out on their own. This is what we wish, what I want. Let me lay down beside you. Let me give my life to you. Come, let me love you. Come, love me again. You fill up my senses like a night in the forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. You fill up my senses, come fill me again. Oh gosh, good morning everybody. That is the hardest song to sing because it's what I wish for my children. It's the long-lasting love that we want to go back and experience again, which we can. And in this work, Mind Over Matter, this is exactly what we're doing. I was choked up on one note because that's where I wanted them to be. And so I hope you really enjoyed this today. We had a Mother's Day. Being a mother can be to a friend, to an animal, to a group of people as a leader. Mothering is nurturing, being empathetic. It's our softer side, perhaps our divine feminine. I'm Leslie Flowers, and I am excited to be here with you today and the work that Nick and I are doing together for you. We're doing it because we want you to know the things that we've discovered. And we know you know a lot already. But what we'd like to do is to distinguish make really clear when we do really good things, what actually did we do to make them stick, right? So that we could repeat it. So I'm very excited to be here. And look, we have lots of good. Are you going to do comments today, or would you have? Yeah. Okay, good. I see people are coming in. Oh, thank you so much, everybody, for coming in. You were the one who was writing those comments. Thank you, Nick. Nick is a producer. She's many things, and she is a publisher. And you will hear from her quite a bit today about how she has taken. Oh goodness. Um, Nick has taken a lot of this work that I've been doing and that she's been learning from other people and actually put it into practice. And today's going to be a really good example of how you are already doing this, but why it is so important that you understand exactly what's going on. You know, out of confusion comes clarity. And when we're confused, we don't take many steps. We really don't. But make it clear, and I'll do it again. Right? But once I learned that lesson, it's top of mind. Wouldn't you say so, Nick?
100%. I mean, you might make a mistake 2 or 3 times, but once you grab a hold of it and you know and you build that muscle of self awareness, forget it. That's it.
That's,
You
that's
know,
right.
and you will draw the line in the sand every time.
Right. It's not a crapshoot anymore. It's not what you get, you get. And this group of people, we've been, hey, Adrian, so glad you're here. And there's Ashif and Crystal, and oh my goodness, I want to acknowledge each one of you. Oh, that's right, I forgot. Was I going to do that, or you? Anyway, there's Adrian. I'm sorry, I've been off for a couple of weeks due to a medical interruption, an outside condition, which I began back on Friday and told a lot about myself because this wake up call I had kind of shook me into my own winter. Like I kind of forgot that getting old is grace. Getting old is wisdom. I don't have to be 17. I don't have to be in the summer or the spring of my life anymore. I don't want to miss the winter. And as a result, there's a lot of things I haven't done, and I don't really know why. Maybe it was for fear, but that stops here. And I am grateful to the universe for sending me this wake up call, which, without any other symptoms, I lost the vision in my right eye. Do not let that alarm you. It did not alarm me. Immediately, I knew there was a reason. There is always, I teach universal laws. For every up, there's a down. And we're going to talk about one of them today, polarity, and how we think. I did not have, oh, poor me thoughts even once. It's been 2.5 weeks. It's thank you for the wake up call and thank you. So I believe that we do have karmic bank account, and I haven't always been the nicest person. I am a Sagittarius and we do speak straight, and a lot of people take that as unkind, but that's not the intent unless I'm angry. And then I can, right? But under normal circumstances, that's my nature. And so a lot of people will say, well, oh, she meant this, she meant that. No, she didn't. Right. But today, what we're going to talk about is why you would say, no, she didn't. Why would you do that? Why do you see me that way? Why do some people and some not? And why do some people, why are they open to this kind of conversation and others aren't ready? It doesn't matter. You're all here. And thank all of you during this last couple of weeks for your support and your notes. It's harder for me to do things with one eye, right? As you can imagine. But I'm adjusting. I cut my fingernails so I could type because I sure can't see the keyboard, right? So anyway, I have to wear these glasses. They're the most up to date. Can't wear my fancy ones. But these are all such unimportant things. They really are. So today, we are going to talk about the law of polarity. Now, I don't want to get in here too deep. Oh, listen, shall we go through and let me do the acknowledgments real quick here? Okay, we'll start with Adrian. Thank you. Thank you. You can run this. Thank you so much. Oh, look, Christine is here too. I haven't seen her in forever. Adrian, get to know Adrian. Adrian lives in New England. She comes to these rooms and supports me all the time and is reposts. Watch Adrian, what she does to help other people's exposure on LinkedIn. She doesn't do everything. She doesn't answer with long comments. She doesn't write long posts. But she will make comments and she reposts for you if she finds value. So each one of us have one small thing that we do that we enjoy doing that makes a difference for others. It can only be one small thing, but Adrian is my backup. She actually is. And there's Lisa Fevick. Good morning, Lisa. So glad you're here. And jump in, by the way, Nick, if there's anything you want to say about any of these wonderful people. Lisa, now I do this acknowledgement and thank you for your patience here because I know that the way you describe me and who I am for you is always better than what I think. So it really builds my self-awareness and my self-confidence to hear what you think and what you're doing, and to acknowledge you, that I see you, that Nick sees you, that we know you're here. We have transitioned from the audio rooms. We're doing fine. There's a lot of audio rooms that are still audio, although you have to go through the extra step, which is really all there is once you get used to it, to go to a different link to communicate. But gosh, I mean, Melissa's show is her show. She's always on audio. She prefers that. So we've made the transition. It's just been a few months. So Lisa is a registered pharmacist. Excuse me. She's a registered dietitian. She might be a pharmacist because she's got some hidden talents. But the most important thing is that she focuses on the dietary guidelines that women can use and families can use during the times of menopause. And menopause can last, up to 30 years, the pre and the during and the after. And there's lots of symptoms. So every other Tuesday, I believe it is, Lisa has her live show. Okay, great. Thank you, Lisa. So good to see you. And there's Tracy. Hi, Tracy. Tracy teaches the art of war. I love a woman that teaches stuff like me, right? The stuff that very few women get into. But she is really bright in a lot of things. In audio, she's also worldly, drops in things that you would never imagine that she might know. So very well-rounded, brilliant woman, and I highly recommend that you follow and get to know Tracy. She's kind and does great posts. There's Sean Michael at noon today. He has Mindset Shift every Monday at noon, and he is a coach. He's really a thought leader and aspires to be in total service to others, and he was the only guy that reviewed the possibility of errata. He was my guy reviewer, and it was so important to have a man read this. So I'll always be grateful to you. And look, we have a good evening. So I'm going to guess that this is halfway across the world. Thank you for being here. Identify yourself, and we'll come back and give you your appropriate hugs. There's Crystal. Haven't seen you in a long time, Crystal. Thank you for being here. Crystal's an author and a coach, and oh gosh, you want to get to know her. It's been too long, Crystal. So happy to see you here. There's Omar M. He runs live Zoom parties, which is like Jeopardy for people all over the world. He's somehow taken the concept of Jeopardy using PowerPoint and Zoom, where he has these competitions for a couple of years for kids, for adults. He needs a really good writer, though, for the questions. So please reach out to, to Omar. It is so much fun, and you can catch the recordings on YouTube. And there's Ashif. Ashif is a thought leader and a really good friend and support. And I see him as Rumi reincarnated. Whatever he shares, it's succinct and quite thoughtful. So you want to make sure he's on your wall, right? That he comes up every day. And there's Christy Williams, another sweet friend who is a supporter. She will repost anything of value of yours. And she's working full time. So Christy is another person that finds a way to support the people that she follows that has good value. Value according to who? Well, according to Christie's standards, values, and ideals. And I am very fortunate, we are, that she reposts this show every week. So thank you for that, Christy. Oh my goodness, look at this. Everything is a practice. Sometimes I need to relearn how to handle certain situations, and then I need continuous practice with a new behavior. Well, please come up on stage because that's what we're talking about. Christine Feedy. Christine is one of the very rare people who will paint themselves in the corner and then, what do you call it? What do you call it when you elevate yourself like a magician? What is it? What was that word?
Levitate?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. My co-host extraordinaire. She will levitate out of the corner and paint it. No one else does that, but Christine does, and very few people do. And what I mean by that is she put herself into a tremendously rigorous MBA program on a very short schedule with 2 kids and a full-time job and completed it. And she now has a master's. So she didn't do it like other people who have masters. She did it with fire on her heels. And so, Christine, I'm so glad to see you. I've missed seeing you very much. I hope you'll come back. And Leah Garcia is the Wall of Wealth woman every Wednesday at 1:00. And pretty much on every other day of the week, you can find something. She is the financial woman, the Wall of Wealth woman. She is my financial advisor. She's the one that I trust to have conversations with. And her Wall of Wealth is really excellent because it's modularized. So no matter how old you are, no matter what area, segment of life you're in, you get whatever it is that works for you. You're not required to get all the modules. So for me, I only need 1 or 2. Is that it? Nobody else. Well, that tells me how many people are here. So you should know that on LinkedIn, there are 3 dots on the bottom of the screen, and you can view the event and then share this to everybody else. So I hope everybody's ready. Let me just see here. We're at 10:17. Excellent. All right, Nick, are you ready to go? Anybody you would like to acknowledge? Anything you want to say before we get into what we're doing today?
Just a big hi for everyone, and I actually can acknowledge you all as well, and I want you to know that. I know Leslie does, well, not can acknowledge, but I understand, like, I know you guys now, some be my friends, but some of you as well, because I've just met you here and I've heard all the lovely things Leslie has to say about you. So I don't want you to feel like I don't, but we're both.
Yes, yes, we want you to know how grateful we are. So this is a really, really yummy subject today. Okay, now we're talking. Am I muted? No.
No, one more pop in.
Okay, pop in.
Oh, say hello.
Mariana is here from Belgrade. Hi, Mariana. Hope you're feeling better, and thank you so much. Thank you for interrupting me. That's interrupting me because I wouldn't want to miss Mariana or any of you that are here. Any of you. So thank you. All right. Top of the topic is if you're looking at an umbrella about what we're going to do today. And there's Dr. Marcia. Dr. Marcia has a phenomenal live show at 8 a.m. Yes, 8 a.m. Eastern on Mondays. And she is a leadership and confidence, a leadership coach. Her friend Tanique is the confidence coach. I'm going to get this straight. Okay. At the top of the umbrella today is the law of polarity. Just so you know, I want you to be really clear where we're headed with this. So there are 7 universal laws. They're principles. They're things that don't change. They work 24/7, 365. You know about gravity. Works all the time, right? But there are other laws. And as you learn them, and there are 7 of these, we're just going to do 1 today, but you'll recognize it. And what's so important about that is that it expands your reference, your understanding of what is your responsibility to live your life the way you enjoy and what the universe already has set up for you. So when you learn more, you have to do less, actually. Hello, Maria. Thank you so much for being here. You're a new friend. Please, let's connect. Oh, and there's Dr. Joseph. Hi, Dr. Joseph. So good to see you. You got us at a good time. Okay, so we're starting off with the law of polarity. It's the law of opposites. No inside without an outside, no up without a down. You might be thinking, well, why is that important? Well, for every negative, there's a positive, and that connects to what we believe and how we think about our life. How is it going? Are we happy most of the time? Or are we plagued by negative thoughts? Just know that for every negative, there's a positive. For me, the loss of vision in my eye, immediately I went to the positive. It could have been worse. Holy smokes, that could have been it for me. My mother died at 60 when a big clot in her carotid broke off and did a major stroke. No coming back. This was very minor. So when it happened, the first thing I had was gratitude, because I believe we're responsible. And you may not believe this, but we pay. Was this my pay for a life, the life I've lived? It's a very small one. In the eyes of the universe, I've done more good, way more good. That's how I choose to look at it. Okay. All right. So we got the law of polarity. Now, we've also been talking about your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. Your conscious mind is your thinking mind. That's this mind. You're present right now. And your subconscious mind is not thinking, but both minds have voices in your head. Okay, you've got negative voices and you've got positive voices. Which is stronger? Why the negative voices are. Why is that important? Because negative voices have a very low cellular vibration. Thinking and mind is an activity that affects your body. So when you're happy, you get chill bumps and there's a spring in your step. This is where we were born to be. But because of this law of polarity and the 6 others, we are going to have negativity. We're intelligent enough, and we're the only living beings with conscious awareness that can actually use the process that gave us the negative beliefs, the fears we have, to create new beliefs that are based in faith about our ability and our deservability, not about when we failed. The problem with fears are it's not thinking, it's reacting, and it resurrects an experience that you've lived over and over again that was not good. It drives down your vibration. You'll stub your toe, right? Or something will happen because you're in a very low vibration. All your cells are in a low vibration, and that's the message to the universe. Effectively, the dominant message is what is going to arrive on your doorstep. So whatever you believe in your subconscious mind, which the Greeks called the heart of hearts, right? And it's primarily negative, unfortunately. And that's what we're going to talk about. But look, negative is the access to the positive. You just don't want to get down about it. Just don't get down about what I tell you. Just look at it. So we're going to look at a picture here before we get going. And then in about 10 minutes, maybe 15, you can come up on the stage and we'll send out the link again, because I really want to hear, and so does Nick, and I want to hear what Nick says about this. So law of polarity, law of opposites. Now we're talking about conscious thinking mind right now, positive because we choose it. And then the subconscious mind, negative primarily, if not 95%. Not thinking and reactive lowers your vibration, sending a message to the universe, well, this is what I want, rather than this is what I want. The strength of your fears are through the repetition, because that's how we learn. That's how we're going to create a new belief for you. And we're going to show you how. So let me bring this picture in. There we go. Now, what I want you to understand, which I've shared with you before, is that we have 6 basic fears. These are experiences that are fearful. And the problem with it is when we were younger, it stores. Okay, it stores as a belief. And when you think about it again, not only do the words and thoughts come up, but the visual image of you failing and the lousy feeling every time. For example, the biggest fear, well, they say even more than criticism, which is over on the right. Okay, you notice I made poverty and criticism bigger. Now you are the CEO. So your conscious awareness is the CEO of your life, but you have inherited through repetition of loved ones and repetition of these things that they repeat, that these voices say over and over again, bringing up the way you felt and how lousy it was, that dominates any kind of logical, strategic thinking you have. Excuse me. So you are really running a life not of wealth, health, and happiness. Maybe one of those, maybe sometimes two, maybe moments of all three. But you have 6 board members that are miserable. And whenever you come up with an idea, those inner voices, well, Leslie, you can't do that. So let's just take the fear of criticism. You failed before. You embarrassed yourself in public. It feels lousy. You were a kid. This is the biggest one, the fear of public speaking. You were in 2nd grade. You had to do a book report. You raised your hand just like me. You couldn't wait to get in front of the classroom. That's the Sagittarius, right? Oops. Hold on a second. My elbow did that. Sorry. And you screwed up. You were humiliated. You didn't understand the project. And all the kids started laughing. And you're fighting back tears. It's humiliating to be ostracized by your peers. It's a horrible feeling. Your vibration drops, you're fighting back tears, and you say to yourself internally, I'm never getting up in front of people again. That's fine when you're 7 or 8, not when you're 47 or 48, right? But we still, every time throughout our lives that we're asked to speak in front of people, for many, many, many of us, we immediately go back to that moment. And what comes with it is the visual image of our humiliation and the way it felt, further embedding this as a fear. So let's just assume that through repetition, these are your 6 basic fears. The fear of judgment and criticism. Number 1, I'm not doing it because I've stuck my neck out before. Let someone else step in. I'm afraid. It's a fear of being judged. Your parents judged you. The teacher judged you. Your scout leader judged you. Your friends judged you. You judged you. Then the next one is poverty. I can't afford it. I just can't afford it. For some reason, all of us, except for the few that were born into pure wealth, we have a poverty mindset. It's a default. There is no vacuum or opening for you to not have either a wealth or a poverty mindset. Only the few that are born into wealth and never heard, well, wait till the taxes come in, right? Everybody has this. So, and Nick is going to talk about this one. I want her to share her experience about this. So, poverty, we can't afford it. But if you really, 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 really want it, you know what happens? Your desire and to serve others, and because it means so much to you, all of a sudden the money doesn't matter. And when your conscious thoughts outweigh your fear, that's when to get into action. Then the other ones are obvious. It could be illness. Do the doctors that go to Africa to work on Ebola and those diseases worry about the fear of illness? Absolutely not. Because they would get sick. Why don't they get sick? Because consciously and intentionally, they're there in heart-centered service. You can't be in faith and fear at the same time. How did they do it? Well, Nick will show you how she did it. And then we have the loss of a love. Well, I don't want to go with anybody because the last relationship was awful, and I just rather not get to know you. That's fear of the loss of a love, or someone dies. And then you have old age, obvious. I'm too old to do that. That's for the younger folks. And then death. I don't want to die. I'm having too good of a time, right? So I want to go on to the next slide. So what we're going to talk about here, and then I want to bring Nick in, is what is called reframing. Now, I didn't in coaching. I didn't bring that up first because everybody knows what reframing is. Oh God, one more live about reframing. Gag me with a spoon, right? But when you understand the power of reframing, you'll see that it is the exact access to create ability and deservability in yourself, because all these fears whittle away at your self-image and your confidence, all of them. And so you don't believe in yourself. People say, well, believe in yourself. If you believe it, you can do it. Yeah, well, how do you do that? How exactly do I go from, oops, what did I do? I must have done, oops, hold on a second. Oh, she must have stepped away. Okay, for just a second. Okay. How exactly do we do that? Well, that's what we're going to talk about. That's where the reframe comes in, based on the law of polarity, positive and negative. You are the CEO of your business. You have a default of 6 basic fears. I'm looking at the time here. Okay, we're good. They are stronger than your strategic and conscious awareness in almost every case. Let me just try something here for just a second. Okay. Interesting. Nick, are you there? I can't tell. All right. I will check in with her in just a minute. Okay. Now you've got to get rid of these one at a time. So which one is the strongest for you? Is it the fear of criticism and judgment? Oh my God, I can't do that because I failed before and I'd just rather let someone else do it. I'm doing okay on my own. Or will it be poverty? Well, I want to do all these things, but I just can't afford it. So which one is for you? Let me just check with Nick here for a second. Make sure she's okay. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. I don't know what happened here. I just think something must have happened. Okay. All right. Let's take a look here at the comments before I move any further. Let me just look here at Adrian. Hey, Adrian. Poverty mindset starts. Oh, you are there. Great. When we're young, we hear that old saying, money doesn't grow on trees. Right. Now, in the comments, thank you, Nick. I'm glad you're okay. Hey, Jeremy. Jeremy is a new friend. I'm so happy to see him here. He is such a kind, thoughtful human being. Get to know him. He takes time to write to you, which not everybody does. So it's just appreciated so much. So where we are and what Adrian just pointed out, that this is through repetition that we get these beliefs from our parents. And that's why I say that all these fears came from unsolicited gifts from friends and family and people we respect through repetition. You don't even know what's happening. It's like brainwashing. It's repetition. It's called auto-suggestion, self-suggestion, but is it the way that the fears embedded themselves, right? Not only through failing multiple times, but then remembering it and resurrecting it again and reminding all those cells how lousy it felt. And in the meantime, you are sending a message to the universe through intuition. This is how the universe communicates with us, which is conscious, that this is what you want as a result. So what you really believe about your ability and deservability is what you're going to get. And you might wonder, well, what do I believe? Well, look around. Is this the car you want? Is this the kind of family you want? Is this the kind of spirituality you want? Hey, Michael, how are you, my friend in Texas? So good to see you. So happy that you're here. That's Michael. What is it that you want? If you don't have it, pick one thing. And this is the way to begin. So, Nick, so um, talk about the fear of criticism for just a minute about how you were able to go from that fear or the fear of poverty, either one. You have good examples on either. How you did that and how you've noticed the distinction of what you're doing, how powerful it is because you're able now to track your own awareness. You can track that you're getting better. You know what to do for the next one. Rule of thumb, one of these at a time, one goal at a time. Research shows that if you take on more than one or a whole bunch, nothing gets done in most cases. You also can't track the system. And that's what we're doing here. Okay. Nick, you. Oops. Hold on. Well, that isn't what I want
Well,
either.
no, where you want me to start? Which one? Fear of
Well, which one? Which
um,
one do you think is it? The fear of criticism, or let's do the fear of well, I don't know. It's up to you. Whichever one is the best example.
all right, where should I start? I think the fear of poverty probably. So I'm from a third world country, Trinidad and Tobago. But I did not grow up poor, but I certainly wasn't wealthy. I should say my family, right? So we were middle class. Um, did I sometimes look at the kids that had more? Yes, but to be honest with you, I saw more often the kids that didn't. Um, in Trinidad, the school system is very different. So, I assume like there are the elite schools and then there's not so elite schools. Um,
But let's talk about how you how this affects your business because you started a new business. So how have you been able to overcome this cultural setting, right?
right.
Which generally includes a fear of poverty for all of us. How does it show up for you and how have you managed it?
Yeah, I think I started back there because I growing up learning to be happy with what I had because of the way I was raised to start with kind of carried through in my life. Um, so those moments where I had less, instead of being afraid, I was grateful for what I had. And it's not that I didn't want more, but I knew that more would not make me happier because I was already happy. So I think now in business, people say there's ups and downs, and there are. But speaking of law of polarity, for every down I've had, there's been an up. That is the honest truth.
Mhm.
For every writer, for example, that stepped away from an anthology of mine for various reasons, and most of them not for the greatest reasons, right? Because some things happened and they can't continue along. I might within the first seconds feel, oh crap, I like to write with 21. Now I have 20. Am I going to get the spot filled? But that doesn't last very long. I mean, it lasts less than a minute. And then I go into, you know, this person's going through something. I need to be there for them. I need to refund their non refundable deposit. It's not about that, it's about them being okay. And then there's a part of me that also feels it just isn't time, perhaps, for them to be a part of this for whatever reason. And when the time comes, they will be. So,
Let
on
me ask you a
every,
question. Let me ask you a question about that. Now you said it took you about a minute. This
yeah,
is so weird. Why does this do this? Okay. Um, so you said it lasted when someone said they couldn't do it. Your first immediate thought that your fears are always there.
yeah,
They just
they
get
are.
quieter. So for just a minute or so, I thought, oh, but then it took you a short time. Was it always a short time? Where did it start? Would you find yourself lamenting longer periods of time, and now that it's got that you have chosen to intentionally embrace the lesson or the positive from that negative, was it longer at one time, and then what was the magic that happened when
It
the
was longer
distance?
at one time, and it's funny because it was actually longer when I didn't have to worry about the money, meaning
Interesting.
I was working full time, and for the 2 years I was doing publishing part time. I was able to give a, I can only afford this much. Okay, no problem, etc., etc.
Mhm,
Because
mhm,
I didn't need that to survive. And I was able to just fuel it really from my passions and loving what I did. Now it's very different because I have this business. This is my livelihood. And it's that balance of I need to bring in the income, but I need to not lose my passion for what I do and why I'm doing it. And I think continuing to ensure that that's the place I'm coming from
mhm,
has allowed me to lessen the concern about whether or not I lose somebody to a project, and it not be a poverty mindset of being dollar driven. I trust that whatever I earn, whether I earn from 15 writers or 20 writers,
mhm,
will be enough to cover my expenses and for me to continue on living my dream, which has given me already so much peace of mind
mhm.
and fulfillment and everything else. Um, and it's just, it's happening. So it's being
What
proven to
magical
me. It's
once
being
go ahead, I'm sorry.
it's being proven to me constantly. So I can't deny it. I've had one person have to leave in the morning, and the very same night, somebody else joined. Um, I've had one person who had to step away, and within a few days, another person stepped in. So this is the thing with these projects. They're constantly moving. So I've probably had a handful of people, but then over the life of all the anthologies, more than a dozen people leave. But every single time, by the time we published, it came back to the number of people that I would max the book out at. Um, and I just feel if the magic happens when when you decide where you're coming from and where your focus is and what you choose to see and feel out of the situation comes back to you. If you
Yeah.
choose to see it negatively and feel negatively about it, that negative presence shows it. People feel it. And when people, feel that you continue to just stay open and kind and caring, you naturally attract people to you. So I for me feel that that's where the magic was. The magic was in me being able to say, no, I choose to look at the positive side of that can come out of this, right? As a publisher, I certainly do not want to take somebody's money and put their story in a book if I feel they're not ready. And who tells me whether or not I could determine that? I don't. The universe takes that out of my hands. It takes it completely out of my hands. So
And
I,
let me say that what you've explained here is the law of sacrifice. So this is another one of those laws that it'll really make good sense to you, because by giving up that author or that writer, right, in and being faithful about it and being empathetic and heart-centered about it, rather than egocentric, selfish, worried about the money, right? That when you intentionally, that's what the amount of time starts to shrink for how long you're worried about the money, until you realize that it's heart-centeredness. And then the law of sacrifice comes in, which means you give up something of lesser value to make room for someone who wants to write more than the person who is now unable to, for regardless of the reason. And the matter, and I wanted to bring up what Christy had said about outside influences. Your fears are also the same influences. So other people who poo-poo you, right, or don't like what you're doing, they're aligned with your fears. Why is it that we notice people who don't align with us, but by the law of polarity, there are as many, if not more, that do? But because of these fears, we're busy looking for people who are criticizing us, or worried about people not getting their values straight yet. So, we're all works in progress. But I think what you said, hey, Peter is our HR talent and consultant, and Mark Thumar is here, new friend. So here's the thing. It's always a move from fear to faith. Hey, Jay, so good to see you. Fear can be crippling if you let others feel that fear. It can compound. Absolutely. So, but others are the ones that had embedded it to begin with by default. Friends, people you respect. I remember in 5th grade or 6th grade, I locked horns with my teacher. I always felt that I knew more than them, no matter how old I was. I have a granddaughter like this. I don't know if it was true or not, but we both believe that. Anyway, he said something that really irritated me. I think it was 5th grade. And he said, "You'll never be a good wife." What a thing to say to a young woman. Do you know I've never forgotten that? And when my first marriage ended, that's what I thought about. And when my second marriage ended, that's what I thought about. How significant it is when someone criticizes us or judges us. That's what we're working on here. And so what Nick has done is been able to move from concern about the money she might make if this person leaves to what opportunity will it open up for someone else? Because there's already people on their way who are ready and who do want to and don't have outside conditions to worry about. Hey, Professor Roxana, so good to see you. Nick, thank you so much for that. And I want you to talk some more in a minute, but that is really important. So you have got, the more times you do this through repetition, pretty soon, that's your choice all the time. Now it'll just, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I want to add that I feel that people are often, when they criticize you, projecting their own fears onto you, because that's their fear, right? And so they're fearful, they're going to feel, and they don't want you to feel and feel that way too, right?
Mhm.
So in a weird way, they aren't always doing it to hurt you. Sometimes that they're doing it just because that's the fear that they have and they want to protect you, or they think they're protecting you. Um, but that's where, like you say, you learn to understand, and that's again where you stop to think about the past positive. You don't think this person, don't automatically think this person is coming at me negatively because they want me to fail, so they're filling my head with nonsense that I can't do this.
Yeah, they
Maybe,
don't want that. They're
maybe
looking, we look for the things in others that we don't like about ourselves. It's called projection, isn't it?
yes, and
So,
maybe some people do want you to succeed, and
mhm,
it's not that they're coming at you that they don't want you to succeed and sounding like they're criticizing you. They are fearful they are not going to succeed in something in their life, and they don't want to see you go through that perhaps feeling as well. And that my whole point is, if you flip the script and you choose to see the positive, you will not be holding on to any negative energy that is going to start sucking up your air that you need to breathe in order to be successful. So I think that that's what it, I mean, for me, I'm going to hear it and I'm going to let it go. Or if I hold it for a little bit, I'm going to say to myself, why am I connecting with this? I'm connecting with this because of past experiences that I have already worked through in my head. So
Mhm.
I'm not going to let this person come now and set me back when I've already worked through my own experiences.
Yes, yes, absolutely. That is the work that we're doing, and that is the power of distinguishing exactly what's happened. Now, let me show you this next slide. Anybody who's ready to come up on stage, send me a message. It's in the comments on the live event. Please feel free to come up to join the conversation. But here's what I want to show you now: is let's see if I can do it this way. Yeah, well, no, I better go back over here. Better. All right. Now, based on the law of polarity, these are the things, the reframes. These are a few to give you an idea. And I want you to decide which of these 6 basic fears you're going to work on. Which voice do you hear? Because you've got 7 voices in your head, 6 that come from fear, and then your own little weak, your own little weak uh, uh, let's just say, spirit for yourself and belief in God. But that's still not enough to combat these fears. So, which one are you going to look at? I recommend criticism or poverty. But as we look at this, these are some examples. So, I'm a failure, right? Something bad happens, some outside condition and circumstance matter. Fears are matter. Outside people's opinions are matter. Only what you're thinking is what right now is conscious awareness, and it's without fear. In fact, if you hear something that makes you feel kind of uncomfortable, just move on to the next thing, because it could be triggering one of those fears and you're not aware of it. By becoming aware of what's going on, you can actually do something about it. So if you're a failure, what you want to say is, I'm a total success. But think about this: when you're in the pits, I am a failure, right? You've got a low vibration. So when you repeat, I am a total success, right? You better believe it. Pretend you believe it. And actually, you are a success, because who are we measuring success by? Whose value standards and ideals are we measuring by? Someone else's, to Christy's point, or to my own? Therein is the issue. So you could be a total success in everything you've done. You have failures, but you can choose to believe you are. And the word I am, and I will is powerful, but you have to feel it. Okay. You have to feel it. And then you have to do this repeatedly. Every single time you hear that voice, you counteract it out loud. I am a total success. Oh, Jeremy, thank you so much. I hope it's helped. We both do. We talked about this quite a bit. This is how you can measure your own personal growth or emotional intelligence growth. In each loss, there is a gain, as in every gain, there is a loss. And with each ending comes a new beginning. Beautiful. Beautiful. That's what we're talking about here. So it's visualizing yourself as a success. What are the things that I've done that are successful? My God, yesterday was a perfect example. I had my 2 beautiful children and my 4 grandchildren. What other success is there? They're both married 20, 22 years to the same person. Never been divorced. It's pretty rare, right? I mean, if you think about it. So really, I feel very successful in my standards and values. They've done the work and they continue to do the work. So I call that a success. You might not, but honestly, what you think doesn't matter as much to me as what I think and the results that I have. Dr. Marcia, positive warrior's mindset is always a good one to have during a crisis. That's great. A positive warrior mindset. I love that. That reminds me of the 6 mental muscles that I call spiritual warriors. You see, while you have 6 fears in your subconscious fighting to be the one voice you hear, you will only have one thought at a time. Who's stronger? Fears are always stronger. Don't do that, Leslie. You failed before. You're too old for this. What if you get sick? Can you really afford it? I mean, it could be any one of those, right? That that has its counterpart to Dr. Marcia's point, which has 6 spiritual warriors, or I call mental muscles, that we are developing in this work that we do together through repetition, that stand guard against the negative thought. Even the last minutes bring wisdom. Beautiful Sam. Hey, Sam, how are you? Thank you for being here. All right, so here's another one. Nothing ever goes my way. Things always go my way, right? When one of those people stepped away, she could have thought, well, nothing, things aren't going my way. But in reality, based on her standards and the work that she's doing in the heart-centered service, things are going exactly her way. In fact, as people step away, the people that were already on their way to work with her had a place to go. Because if those people hadn't left, then those people who were ready and wanted to do this work couldn't. So you see, the universe, God, spirit, however you look at it, we're co-creators. So this is more of the law. This is the law of rhythm. There were 7 of them, and they all kind of interact, but we're doing polarity. This is the exact opposite. No matter how hard I work, I get nowhere. That's the fear of criticism. But in reality, couldn't you look at it, all my efforts bring rich rewards? Both are true. But our fears are first at bat. They're always first. Their hands are raised first. They're the most practiced, and they're not thinking, they're reacting. You don't even have a chance to take a breath when you step out to try to do something wild and crazy when you first get an idea, unless you do what Nick does, which is look at it again, make a different choice, and then do it again. And then do it again, right, Nick?
It's practice, and I like how it says face, um, intentional thinking, because subconsciously you're gonna think the negative. Um, but the more practice,
Mm-hmm.
the less time you will think of the negative before you move on to the positive. But doing it intentionally, I think, and not just out of practice of a flip of the mind, but
Mm-hmm.
rather consciously doing it,
Mm-hmm.
allows you to accept that the negative is there, and the negative um, is a part of it. It's a stepping stone. Um, you know, when I think about it and I say I set very small goals for myself, and I flip it to I set high goals for myself, which I'm able to attain. My first thought is when I set very small goals to myself is then set bigger goals. That's my first thought to myself. If somebody said that to me, I'd be like, well, then set bigger goals. Um, and yes, the important part to me in that is I am able to attain, and that takes knowing and understanding of your abilities and accepting where your abilities are and knowing where you need to maybe increase those abilities to attain higher goals. Because if you keep setting goals that you can't attain, you're going to keep feeling like you fail and that you're going to keep setting small goals for yourself. So it's such a full circle
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
a big way to reinforce that conscious thinking without even doing it intentionally, but it just becomes rote at a point is that your choices and actions are constantly disproving the negative.
They can
So
be.
therefore,
Yeah.
how could I not see within the same day one person said, I'm not able to, and another person said, can I? How can I see? I said, you know what? I'm no longer comfortable doing this. and I'm not being paid, I feel what I'm worth. So I need to step away because it's hurting me, not financially, but in the whole scheme of my psyche and the value of my business and how I feel about everything.
Mm-hmm.
To somebody will come along and pay me what I'm worth because they see it and they feel it. And then within a few days, I got booked.
You see,
So
you
it's
what
sort of
happened?
like,
You detached from the poverty and embraced faith. That's exactly what. So this is what happens. You are able to detach or let go of that fearful thought long enough for your conscious mind to come in and say, "Wait a minute here. This
yeah,
really is. I'm becoming something else here. This is not how I do business anymore. This is not how I think anymore." And it is through the practice in spaced repetitive intervals over time. This is exactly how your fears are built, because these things keep happening over and over again. They feel lousy, and then you think about them again. So you really, hi, Dr. N. John. So glad you're here. You really are coming in at a deficit. Dr. Anjan is a wonderful supporter. Get to know him. He's just a wonderful man. So this happens in a process of repetition. So I want to share with you a couple. So basically, I had said, and to your point, Nick, that this is intentional thinking, and this is why you only pick one of these fears. So it could be fear of poverty, or it could be, I'll give you an example. One of the things I've done with my clients is years ago, I've been teaching women since 2013 many things about 21st century business. And one of the things that women do, many people do this, but women primarily based on coming out of a nurturing environment into the business world, is we use the word "I'm sorry." Maybe. I'll try. So the word "I'm sorry" in the South, it has, first of all, it has a very low vibration. Being sorry is like the lowest form of human consciousness if you live in the South. But the word sorry is more of something we would do at home to fix a boo-boo. "I'm so sorry that you fell and hurt your knee." That's what we've been doing for 5,000 years. So the word sorry really depletes your power. And I was doing this work with my clients, and one of them just couldn't stop saying, "I'm sorry." The opposite is, "I apologize. Let me make that right for you." That's what you do if there's a mistake. This is what men do in business. They don't go, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and cry. Let me make that right for you. I apologize. I misread it, taking full responsibility. No tears. Anyway, she couldn't get over it. So here's what I had her do. Every time she let the word "I'm sorry" slip, wherever she was, is self accountability, she had an envelope in her car, which she had to put in a $5 bill. Now, you can't touch that money. Let me tell you, it doesn't take long. She ended up with 3 $5 bills in there, and she was able to break the habit. There was something about, and I haven't figured this out yet, Nick, something about attaching $5 or digging into your purse and your wallet to take that money out, and physically, this physical action, if you will, that helped move this along. And if anybody in the audience knows about this, I would love to hear about this. Put that in the envelope. And after 3 $5 bills, she was healed. She had somehow the stepping through the fear of poverty, right, tied up with the word "sorry," and she stopped doing it completely. The man who says he can and the man who says he cannot, both are correct. And Henry Ford too. Which one came first, Confucius or Henry Ford? Oh, okay. What happened here? Interesting. Let me just stop sharing for just a second. Okay. I don't know what happened here. Okay. The other thing, Let me just close this. Okay. The other thing that I wanted to share with you is when this happened to me, and it was 10 cents. So in the early 70s, I worked for a figure salon, the Eileen Feather Figure Salon. And we sold health programs, right? It was a gym. And I weighed about 125 pounds and was known as the woman who could sell a drowning man a cup of water. And it was true. I was the top salesperson for 3 years, 1, 2, or 3 in a 9-chain figure salon business. So I was always doing well. And I was lucky because my manager had a PhD in psychology. And I don't remember what it was I was doing. It was something negative. I had a negative. I would throw something out negative. Well, this doesn't work. I was pretty sure that everything I did was pretty perfect, right? So there was a lot of negativity and sharp edges with me. So she said, Leslie, anytime I hear you using a negative term, I want you to put a dime in this jar. Now, this is 50 years ago. And she would make me stop. Okay, stop right now. Go get the dime. And I would physically have to dig in my purse, go get my purse, get the dime. I mean, she wouldn't let any time go by. Put the dime in. It was so humiliating that this is how I felt, that I couldn't control my own thoughts, that I couldn't stop saying negative things. That I guess this is where this intentional thinking is, Nick, that we were talking about. That must be what it is, this intentional thinking, but I tied it again with money. So I find that really interesting. Let's just see here. If I had done that $5 bill, sorry, especially in the past, I'd be a billionaire. Because we pay attention to what we pay money for. Yeah. Oh, no, I really want to know. But it's tied, I think, Leah, to our fear of a lack of abundance, that we're not going to have enough, that if we spend on this, we're going to run out. But that really isn't true. And Jeremy says, I'm working on fixing this problem. Okay. So give yourself some sort of physical incentive. And we're very fortunate to have someone joining us here. I'm so excited. But pick one of the fears. I'm going to open that PowerPoint again, and I think I can bring it back up. But pick one of your fears. You got 6 of them. Is it that you're afraid of sticking your neck out on an idea or speaking up because you have a fear of being humiliated or being laughed at? Or maybe you even had, let's see if I can't see very well. Oh, God, this is it. Yeah. Whatever it is. Okay, let's just see. I don't know what's going on. Okay, here we go. All right. Give me 1 second here. All right. So whatever it is that you're going to work on, and I'll bring this back up if I can find my cursor. There we go. Let me just do this. Thank you for your patience, everybody. Okay. Okay, so you're going to decide which one of these you're going after. And I'm recommending, and if you're getting old and you're worried about that, you can do that one. Oh, I'm too old for this. In fact, when I lost my eye, I remember thinking, well, I can't do proofreading anymore. Well, I can't read any more audiobooks. Well, I can't do any of this. And then in about 30 seconds, I said, well, yes, I can. No, it actually took 2 days. And Nick actually said, yes, you can. Yes, you can. But see, even me knowing what I know, those fears are always there. This is the first time I've ever had this happen. So what's the first thing that's going to come up? Well, what are the things I can't do that I could humiliate myself? And then you go over here and you create what the negative thing is that you said, and what is a powerful opposite using the law of polarity. So you want to pick. And we have this most wonderful woman on stage. This is Christine Feedy. Good morning, Christine. I'm not sure where you are, but it's still morning where you are. How are you, my friend? It's so nice to see you. Love your picture on LinkedIn today with you and your girls. They are adorable.
Thank you.
You're
Hello.
welcome.
I missed you
Hello.
back. Hi, Nick. I right. I gotta pick one. I have so many things, but I will pick one. Uh, okay. I guess fear of. I guess it would be fear of criticism, or just being, like you were saying about the embarrassment of when you gaff something up, and so I don't know how to explain the backstory, but the details weren't important. I feel like I was kind of ambushed into presenting something on the spot, something I didn't learn very well, and it was also recorded, and it was horrible. It's horrible. It was horrible. I mean, I don't have the words. I don't think horrible is good. And I still can't look at the recording. It's just awful, but and I'm so angry.
I'm right there
I
with
just hope
you.
somebody
I
will
am right
delete it.
there with you. I did the same thing
Oh,
recently.
now now part of what I do in my role is present software and make recommendations, and I think I know how to do this. But it was a newer tool, and I was trained once. I didn't really. You have to really practice and go back and do. I didn't. I wasn't prepared at all. I also think if I would have been prepared, it would have been a completely different experience. But again, a chain of events happened where which had occurred, and I can't tell you what it did to my confidence. And I knew, like deep down, I knew I could do better. But now everybody was gonna know. And it wasn't broadcast to the world or anything, but my boss might know, or who somebody, and it was completely humiliating to me. Um, I feel better now. This happened months ago. Um, but what I did was I love these suggestions and things you can tell yourself. I proved some of my own stuff wrong because I did go back to the really. I want to be the resident expert now. It's cool. And maybe that comes from my ego or some not healthy place, right? But some of it may not be healthy, but some of it might be. And now I always raise my hand, and it was actually in the pharmacy vertical. I'm really really interested in. That was why it was even more devastating. And I've got so much. I've gotten so much better on so many levels, not just that tool, just on that lane in a general way. So I guess I'll stop there.
Yeah,
I
Nick.
don't know what else to say. At least I
No, are you?
turned it
No, no.
around.
That's
I
a.
still kind of carry it with me.
You will
Go ahead.
always. But yet, you've done a better job, and now your intentional thinking is to become the damned expert in it, right? So you and Nick, what would you have to say about that? I know you can relate to this.
I can, and I do agree with you. And, like, for example, I did a presentation at a summit, and I had um, not done one before. I prepared all these beautiful slides and then couldn't figure out how to run it properly on Zoom while people were there, and I was mortified. And now I know that it will not stop me from doing it again. But I haven't signed up for the next one, and not because I'm fearful. It's that I don't know, given my schedule, that I have the time to learn how to do it effectively so that I don't put myself back there again. Because I think to do that will compound that fear of criticism. And, the third time around, I'm going to be doubly fearful to do it. But it would be the fact that I didn't recognize that I had a part to play in it for not preparing. And therefore, if I give myself time to prepare, I could do it. So I do understand how you feel, and I do want to get to the point where I could be like, nope, I got this, I could do this, but I need to give myself that time. So I do, yeah, I, I get you, and I appreciate you sharing that.
The fear, it is there, it'll always be there. But you, what effectively you're doing when you take, and there's a couple of really good questions here I want to
Yeah,
get into, and I think Christine, you'll like these too, from Dr. Marcia. What happens is when you do something that you've been afraid of doing, or you've been humiliated before, or it's something you've never done before, so you're out there taking a huge risk, right? When you complete it, you've disproved the fear at least once, and you've built faith in your ability and your deservability, because all these fears take away your self-worth. Well, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough. You have to do what both Christine and Nick said is one of the suggestions, is to dig your heels in and get really good at it, because you know you can outwit it, right? But if you had never said that to yourself, then you'd still be living in the place of, well, I'm not as good I'm not as capable and deserving, but you are. And so when you disprove it, now what you're doing is outweighing the fear. That's the purpose of all these affirmations, which are based on the law of polarity, which I want to bring back up again. But I do want to hit these two questions real quick. So, both for you and Christine and Nick and the audience. And I will answer, but I also want to hear what you say, because Dr. Marcia is a learned teacher, just an amazing human being. So, can being overconfident distort the process of growth and manifestation? Well, my first thought is overconfidence is is a fear of criticism and judgment. Let me make myself look bigger. Let me one up you. Let me lie about what I do. Let me exaggerate. Hire me because I'll make you out of this. Right? So it also can be a sign. Well, let's just leave it there. To answer your question, from me, what you would get is a growing and a disintegrating, which is the law of vibration. So you would have moments of feeling confident, but it would be based on your ego and the fear. So then you would slip back to where you're not feeling confident. And narcissists do this, right? They make themselves feel bigger by making you the victim, by blaming you for everything. So I would say that it does both. It can and it will to an extent, but then it will, like the law of rhythm, it'll go back. So if you want haphazard results, this doesn't build confidence or strength. But both have to be true based on the law of polarity. So it would distort it in your own mind. But does it really matter what I think, or does it really matter what you think? That you wouldn't think of it as distortion. You would think of it as really who I am. But as observers, we could see that this is a great point. Nick or Christine, anything you'd like to add to this before we go to the next question?
I have something to add. I think it
Well,
definitely um, stunts your growth. Like I know for me, because I've done some work on myself, I definitely fear of criticism, or fear, just maybe a smidge of narcissism, who knows? But yeah, everybody used to say that, well, you've always been so confident, but I know I have not. And it was all fake. It was totally fake. And until I got an ounce of humility and understand like where my weaknesses are, and of course I'm not going to be perfect, and now I'm like, oh my god, I got so much more work to do. But it's actually feels better. You're afraid, but it actually, to live in your own truth and understand where your strengths and weaknesses are for real. And of course you might still have a biased opinion, but that's the only way you can grow. That's where I'll stop. Thanks, guys.
beautiful. Nick.
trying to really wrap my mind around this one. I do think that being overconfident can come from you not feeling confident enough and feeling that you need to impress others. I do feel, however, that proportionately your confidence should grow, in fact, based in reality. So, therefore, if you are accomplishing and it's proven that you're accomplishing, you have a reason to be confident. Um, if you are overconfident, um, others will certainly see it because the lack of action and proof is there. And that's when they could definitely say that's ego because he or she is not showing the results. So therefore, you could see that overconfidence. As to the individual, it can distort to me the process of growth and manifestation because they think they've already reached there. But then on the other side, does it really distort? Because think about it. If they're overconfident, they're not manifesting anything.
That's
If
right.
I am overconfident as a publisher, I am the shit. And, you know, you want to work with me and pay $1,000 because I am the absolute best.
Yes.
But then again, I bring out an anthology with 6 people versus 21 people, and 2/3 of those are new people who've heard about me, and a third of them want to come back and write for the third time.
Yep.
There's a difference in using your confidence in order to um, enhance your growth and your manifestation and to help others grow and manifest as well. Because when you do that, they in turn actually bring people back to you to do business.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes,
That
over
is.
self-confident in terms of egotistical and cockiness will create problems. I do think it's okay though, and not as far as you said, Christine, like when you are aware that you're putting on a show because you feel you need to, or you need to impress, or because maybe you're feeling a little less self-confident and you are aware of it, like in that case, then you can work on it and therefore help with the growth. But I think a little bit of I say I can, so I will is
Mm-hmm.
necessary
Mm-hmm.
at
Mm-hmm.
times.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that's necessarily being overconfident in your abilities, but sometimes you do have to put that bar a little bit higher than what you're confident of doing so
Mm-hmm.
that you step up.
Well, and this leads perfectly into Dr. Marcia's next question. And
Oh,
I love to attend. I know it is. It's a perfect segue. And we do this with each other. I do this with her rooms too. We're always thinking about a question to ask. So, is there a thing as moving too far outside your comfort zone, or when is risk taking overtaking fear? When you do, no, you're not ever moving too far outside your comfort zone. You can do anything you want as long as you don't violate the rights of others. My goodness, we have paraplegics climbing mountains. So there is no thing. There's fear that says, oh my God, Leslie, when I wrote Errata, my dream was for it to become a movie. That's like way outside my comfort zone. The trick here is that I don't know how, but it's why I wanted it. So big things take a risk. It's a risk of the fear of poverty is one of them. Like, where am I going to get the money? Or criticism. Well, what if I totally screw it up and lose all the money? What if I get sick? What, any of those? So no, I would say you cannot move too far outside your comfort zone. And that in order to do great things, there is a risk. There's an inherent risk when, for example, when Christine, when you decided you were going to do this abbreviated master's program, huge risk of humiliation. Like, what if you fail, right? What if, I mean, anybody could be concerned about that. That, first of all, that is a big program, and it's under the guise of a company, and it's in a shorter amount of time. I mean, that would scare the pants off of me. However, in order to do great things, there is a great risk. And the risk is outweighing your fear that says you can't do it. And then when you do it, regardless of those old fears, Christine, that come up and remind you of when you totally screwed that up, right? I get that. But you're already on the road to disprove it by taking on a goal, right? It meant enough to you to outweigh that fear, to turn that humiliation into a lesson. What is the lesson? Well, I'm not ever doing this again because I'm going to be great at it. Watch me. So the next time all these people see me, they're going to go, oh my God, is this the same woman? So Dr. Marcia, there's always a risk. The greatest gifts to mankind were done without knowing how. This is why when you come up with something that you want very much, your goal, this is not a task to reach the goal. This is a goal where tasks are required to reach it, things for you to do each week. You may not know how. If you already knew how, you would have already done it. You must be stronger than the fear which has always been there and reminded you that you aren't the one. Sorry, you're just not the one. But once you do it, you have to take a risk. Now, where does that risk come from? That comes from God in the universe. That comes from an internal faith of knowing without knowing how. You just know you're the one. You just know it. You can't quantify it. It is all heart. And as co-creators, it is an idea that the universe and people are waiting for. And it will shut down your fears. When this happened to me in 2007, when I wanted to go and work with Bob Proctor and get certified, I'm making $2,500 a month. You guys know the story. But I knew that this is what I wanted to do. There was no question because I had been guided there intuitively. How that happened doesn't matter right now. But what matters is that when I said, how much is this? And they said $16,000. I said, great, I'll be there in 6 months. And I had $500 in my account and no way to come up with that. So what I did was I just threw myself into what I was supposed to do for the next 6 months to be ready. I was going. There was no way for me to have the money. I had no access. There was no way I could borrow $16,000, a few thousand. Maybe I could have figured it out, but 16 in 2007, please. You might as well have said 160,000. As a result, what I did, and I think what we do when we're hell-bent on something, like Nick creating your publishing company, like Christine doing your master's as an example, right? I think what happens is you let go of the fear. For me, there was no way. There was no reason to even worry about the money because it was impossible. Absolutely impossible. So, but they had given me all these things to do and they had built this up and I knew this. I knew that this was my next step. And I had already been working for 10 years in personal development. Oh, goodness. We're at the end of the year. Please.
If Christine didn't want to add anything to Dr. Marcia's question, Christine, then I would say something. Do you want to add anything, Christine?
I guess
her question.
Something very quick.
Yeah,
I was finishing my breakfast. Sorry.
it's okay.
I guess I was looking at that like maybe I was interpreting the question a little differently. I think you could jump into the deep end too soon. If you've never done public speaking, for example, and then you are on a gigantic stage, right? That could sort of set you back.
It's a good point.
Or you can get maybe burnout if you're taking on way too much and not you know, if you're not
Yeah,
managing the
yeah,
other parts of your life, and you know,
yeah,
and
yeah.
what's the word I'm looking for?
Those are fair points,
Yeah.
and I love that because it's different than, I'm just going to tell you what I'm seeing. And Christine, I love that. And Nick, what about you on this last question?
Yeah, I see it more similar to Christine. Like I think that it is possible to move too far outside of your comfort zone. If you are not grounded in your reasons for doing it, if you are doing it for other reasons, external reasons, because you are comparing yourself, fear of criticism for not being where you think others think you should be, um, then you can, in fact, cause that to happen. Because, and when I think when Marcia says risk, I think about things the risk of your physical, mental, and even financial. Um, if I allowed myself to feel, oh, well, you should be an entrepreneur. You should be an entrepreneur. This is, I mean, if I could do it, you can do it. People love to say that. I could, based on not my own resources, understanding, knowing, go and push myself to that point where I'm not ready. And it's not that I'm not ready as in I'm scared. That's not fair. That's, logically, I know that I can't yet afford to do this, but I'm working towards it. So I think that you can push yourself too far outside of your comfort zone if you don't understand why you are doing it. You can't do it to prove anything to anybody else, I guess.
Yeah, excellent, 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 excellent point. Very different than mine, but I love it. I love it.
But I see your way too. I see it as both.
Yeah,
It should
yeah.
be a motivating factor. Otherwise, you never get off the starting line. So, like, there's always two sides to the same coin. That's the thing.
When I began writing errata 25 years ago, I didn't know what it was other than I was visualizing and writing the outline. What was the topography like? Just the skeletal infrastructure of a different world. But to the point, I didn't know how big it was or it could be. I used it as a healing at the time. And so that was not being ready to write the book. But the universe will hold back. If you stick your neck out, and if I had tried to write that book, let's just say I had made the attempt 25 years ago to now write the book, I would have stopped. The universe would have held me back because our universe, God, spirit wants us to enjoy our successes. And if you get it too soon because you haven't done the work, to Nick's point and to Christine's point, then the universe will not give you what you want. Then you could be unhappy about it and disappointed. But to your point, Nick, if you're working on yourself and you know about these things, then you can say, okay, in most instances, our goals are something we can do within a 12-week period. And when I work with people on goals, but there are times that I had to learn about virtues and values and grow 25 years to actually write the story. So yes, in that instance, absolutely. And one last thing I wanted to bring up here before we close out. And by the way, thank you everyone. And Christine, so good to have you up here again. I
Thank
miss
you.
you. So
I
look at this.
love so sorry. I know
No,
it's a
go ahead.
long comment, but I love and I have to go also, but I love Charles's last comment. It is long, but I love it.
Well, okay. So I see he has two long ones, but that was grabbing the middle one.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. So fake it till you make it is the physical practice of catching yourself. You start faking it because you're not starting there where you want to be. You're starting in another place. So, this is an interesting conversation because let's take the hula hoop when that was, you had to fake it until you learned to do it. So aren't we all faking riding a bicycle until we can do it? So this is to the physical action of picking out one of those fears that we've talked about. Is it going to be fear of criticism or judgment? People don't want to hear from me. Let's just bring this back up here. And thank you for that, Charles. That is true. It's not the only way. Action is part of it, but you do have to begin. And when you begin, you're not there yet. You're starting raw with a risk, trying to do, attempting to do something that you've not done before. So I actually recommend that everybody, begin the process of catching yourself with one of those internal fearful voices. Once you've been able to do what Nick has done and what Christine is doing, then you move on to another one. You do one at a time until you've created new beliefs in your ability and your deservability. You can't do them all at once because they all have different triggers, but you can start with the biggest ones, which are the fear of criticism and judgment. My God, what are people going to think? Right? Or I can't afford it. Those are big ones. So I think that is really critical. And so if you want to synthesize what Charles is saying, but that's why I didn't put it up. It's too long, I think, for right now at the end here. Oh, there's Olawumi. Hello, Olawumi. So glad that you're here. If you want to share something about that, absolutely. We are at the end of the hour. So if you want me to show it, I will. It's just so
I
long.
just wanted to make a fast comment about the fake it till you make it really fast.
Good idea.
All right. So I was going to say that when I was young, in my 20s, I took out a book from the library called A Woman's Guide to Succeeding in Business. And I literally, to negotiate my salary, was copying and pasting, like just retyping, because it wasn't a copy paste. It was a book, like negotiating my salary, just using the template, right? Or interviewing, like just stating the answers. And it worked. Like it just kept working. And I probably would have been too scared to negotiate things that I thought I couldn't negotiate, or push people, or wait things out. But yeah, that's my really fast plug to. I was definitely afraid to do it, but now I'm like horrified when I hear that people don't even try and they just accept whatever's given to them.
That's how powerful those fears are. But we are smarter. Nick, any last words? And then we will complete for today, because I know you have to go and we all do. Charles, thank you for that. And Dr. Marcia as well, and all of you for being here.
I really enjoyed today's conversation. The audience so engaging. There's some wonderful comments in there. And to what Christine just said, I really like Ashi's reply, which is internal pride ego can be quite empowering if and when purposed correctly. And she just did that. That was her example. And then as far as Charles is, I do love his comment, and just really quick on to me what it is that you are right, Charles. Every time I have completed something successfully, it has encouraged me to do something further that would push me out of my comfort zone. When I did not complete something, which might have been in my much younger years, right? That is a limiting reason, a reason that limits you from wanting to push yourself outside of your comfort zone again, because you did not complete the task at hand. So I agree with you.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you for Christine for being here. I'll move you back down as we get ready to complete. Thank you for so much, Christine, for all your input. And also, Nick, thank you so much for today, and all of you for being here. We're a little over, so I hope you've enjoyed this. I posted a 6-minute video of something I did 12 years ago that talks about this. And if you're interested in a little more, go watch that. It's posted in the comments, also on my page. I did Pecha Kucha, which is in 6 minutes, 20 slides. It came out of Japan, and it was the rage for a while. I did it twice, and it's on this subject. So if you are fascinated with this subject, if you have any questions, let me know. I just got a text. So that's Nick, who looks like me temporarily. So what I'll do is I'll remove her from the stage, and then I'm going, because she had to step away. Good thing you can't read my text. Anyway, thank you all for being here. It's been so great to get back. I hope you love this conversation. This is one of my favorite things. Get yourself an envelope and $5. What is it that you want to think newly about? Catch yourself with a negative voice. And when you hear it or you speak it, whatever it is for you, dig in your pocket and put $5. It has to hurt a little bit. You may not dip into it at a fast food line until, and I bet you can do it in under $5 bills. From what my client learned and what I learned with a dime, that there, and according to what Leah pointed out, there is something that ties us to the physical action and the fear of poverty, regardless of the size. There's something about the action and the amount of money and the physical action and money that seems to keep it top of mind and present. And then bam, you move on to another fear, another voice. Well, you can't do that. Don't you remember when you fell? Well, that was then. This is now. Then, to what Charles is saying, what you're doing is completing something that you haven't done before, and that develops your confidence and also proves your ability and your deservability. Okay, so now we have a whole new week ahead of us. It's the middle of May. Do you have a goal? Right? Have you been telling yourself that you can't do it? You can. But you have to figure out why you want to do it. What difference will you make in the world? Is this really compelling you? You have to be compelled and in deep desire and really not know how. That's your indication from the universe, which you'll get through intuition, and it will outweigh your fear if it's strong enough. And then through repetition, you're going to take on tasks and it will start to show up for you that this is actually happening. But you have to start now, regardless of circumstances. All right, everybody, you go and have the most fabulous week, everybody. You fill up my senses like a night in the forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. You fill up my senses. Come fill me again. Come let me love you. Let me give my life to you. Let me drown in your laughter. Let me die in your arms. Let me lay down beside you. Let me always be with you. Come, let me love you. Come, love me again. To all the mothers and fathers, aunts and uncles, pet parents, we want to love them again like when they were little. Come, let me love you. Let me give my life to you again. Come, let me love you. Come, love me again. My children, you fill up my senses like a night in the forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. You fill up my senses. Come fill me again. Do-do-do-do. Bless you, everyone. Have a fabulous week. Reach out if you want to talk. We're both so happy that you are here.